Hello and welcome to another video for Cambridge National Award Certificate in Engineering Design R105 Design Briefs and Design Specifications and User Requirements. Okay, let's have a look at the first exam question that we're going to look at over the next series of videos. Each exam question is going to ask you to, in main, is to look at and examine a product. So it's very important that you sort of think about this particular product when answering these questions. So these questions aren't generic, they're not about other things, they're about this particular product each time. So you have to sort of think, how does this question relate to this product each time around? Now the first part of this question is just joining these lines up. So it's looking at requirements, things that it needs to do, and it's got a list of suggested product features, things that you'll find, you know, all of these things, the handle, the jug, the glass, the lid, the indicator lights here, the rubber feet, all of these things, the shape, they're all features of the design. Okay, so here it's saying, join each client requirement to the correct suggested feature. So the client needs it to be easy to keep it clean. So, for example, perhaps being able to remove the blades so that you can get them clean would be good. You need to work the list together. Don't just sort of pick one and draw a line. So like that one. Have a read through first. So silicone feet, what would they be useful for? What would be appropriate? Remain stationary when working, so that looks like a good pairing up there. An interlocking lid cutout. Lock, a cutout, stop means to stop it from working, so that's probably a safety feature. Must not allow the user to touch blades when switched on, so I would go there. We said it was easy to keep clean. Removable blade looks like it's going to go that way. You must be able to pour the smoothie into the glass. You wouldn't want to have to lift the whole thing to tip it over. So I imagine this jug comes off at this point here. So there's your detachable jug. And you didn't want it to slip when it's moving. So there we go. Pencil those in, have a think about it, that's good. So there's the first part of our question done. Describe why hygiene is an important requirement for 2-mark question. I'm going to use that word, so this is a command. And that is the sort of clue. We need to be talking about describe hygiene, an important requirement of the coffee shop's client brief. Some students were talking about hygiene in general, so they were talking about keeping the cups clean, keeping the tables clean. Remember what I said, this question relates to this product. So you need to be talking about this product. Keeping the product, and put juicer, clean is important because food poisoning perhaps. So food poisoning is a reason, and it's the first part of, you do this in English, I've made my point. Now I'm not overly concerned with technique, but it is worth thinking when you're writing answers, you know, you're writing your answer in English, so you should apply your English rules. You mean point, evidence or explanation, evidence is an explanation, and some relation. relate it to something. So food poisoning, you'd lose customers, you'd lose your food rating. Most food establishments have a 1 to 5 rating. Lose food 1 to 5 rating, and you get legal problems. And again, this might not be a hygiene question. I'm just going to jump to the next page. It's understanding how products have to be, if you will, keeping products safe. Legislation, things that keep customers safe from dangerous products. It's very important to recognise that. And you get that sort of information in quality marks. So later on in the exam paper you'll see questions with regards to European Quality Accreditation, CE, and the British Standards Institute. We'll come back to these a little bit later on. European, British, and even international standards. If we look here, the ISO, the International Standard Organisation, all give legislation for protecting consumers. Okay, a survey may be conducted as part of, so there's a survey, market research, to update the design of the smoothie maker. Describe one improvement that may come from a feature identified in the survey. So this is, in a sense, a little bit of creative thinking. What might somebody say about this design? What features might they improve? And again, thinking about, think about FAM. What function can I improve, or what aesthetic? Remember, this is a survey, so these aren't going to be. It's not going to have anything to do with manufacturing, really. Functionally, I'm thinking about people using it. So I'm thinking about anthropometrics. I'm thinking about ergonomics. So I'm thinking about somebody using the jug, and perhaps I wonder about the handle. I like always be thinking about safety. Perhaps a bigger handle, or maybe a rubber grip. So I'm going to suggest a feature of better handle grip. Oh, it says the improvement there. So handle grip, a rubber grip for safer and easier use. Okay, so I've got my point. I'm going to improve the handle grip. I've explained that I'm going to have a rubber grip for safer, easier use. But I need to sort of remember Peter. I need to try and relate that. So I'm going to put an example, e.g. Elderly user with poor grip might find large handle easier. Okay, but there's lots of features, and this is the thing: is have a quick look. Could the spout be bigger? Could the jug be bigger? Could you have a larger jug? Maybe access for cleaning. Access for cleaning might be an option. With lots of different possibilities. It's a very tall product. Perhaps the product you could make the product more stable by reducing the height. It could take up a different space. So there's lots of different flexibilities. And if we're pulling the marking scheme now, we start to see how the examiners will be looking for the marks. So here we see one mark for identifying a valid feature and one mark for an improvement linked, and this is important, linked to the feature. Quantity of the volume of the jug, ease of cleaning of the jug, changing materials to make cleaning easier, changing the shape to make access easier, making it dishwasher proof if it's not already. It doesn't have to be on this list. Remember, the examiner's going to be marking from experience, so they'll understand that you may have different options to the features as long as you describe and explain how that feature is linked to the improvement. One mark for a new appropriate feature and an improvement, and 2 marks for justified improvement taken from the feature. Viable and feasible. So watch out if you're vague, if you don't explain why you think that's an improvement and how it relates to the product and to some extent user needs or the client's needs, then of course you're going to get some vague marks. Now, we talked yesterday about client briefs, initial design briefs, and why the sort of design specification, the design brief might be different. Well, you know, the client's going to come in and they're going to have an initial request. So client has original request and ideas, but the final brief will include, if you think about the design cycle, go back to the notes on design cycles. You know, you've got brief, you've got research, you've got process planning, and then the design phase with the specification. Research is going to change that final design. You know, you're going to be updating the brief. So the final brief will include research carried out, oops, just slipped the paper there. So research carried out, yeah, perhaps there's market research carried out, new technologies. I'm just thinking of the list here. We'll come and have a look at, maybe pick one of these sort of things and, you know, try and just give 2 reasons. So research would be number 1. I'm going to go new technologies number 2. But there could be others. There could be market research, user needs. There could be changing the budget, things that affect the budget, the materials, the size, the dimensions. I mean, constraints. You know, you might identify new constraints and new criteria. And there's also the influence of the designer. You know, as you're doing your design ideas, things will change. So again, being aware of that initial section. So really, if you think about this question is looking at learning outcome 1. So question 1 is learning outcome 1 to some extent. So they're going to be asking you anything in this sort of section about clients, user needs, design requirements, design brief, the design cycle. And you can apply this to a range of products. So you could take this question and you could take a product at home. You know, you could find a product at home. So for practice, you know, you could swap this. Remember yesterday we were talking about a kettle. So let's sort of go back and replace this product with a kettle. And run through and now ask yourself sort of similar questions. Okay, how would you make it easy to be clean, to be safe? How would you make it easy to pour? you know, how would you make it safe and stationary? So the base piece, easy to use by all employees. So maybe not employees, but thinking about older people, younger people, not too young. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's a lock to stop young people from using the kettle because it wouldn't be safe for them to use it. You know, think about the requirements that the kettle would need, and think about the features. Think about hygiene for the kettle. Thinking about market research. What might that bring up? And thinking about, you know, how might somebody request a kettle of a certain design, and how that design might change. So any product will fit here. And that's basically a look at question 1. I hope you do well in the exam.